Johnny, you don't like being told by governments what to do you? No, I don't, Johnny. I think it's because we're constantly told we live in this free society. But in actual fact, when the bloody going gets tough, the government controls everything.
But do keep that in the back of your mind.
Yeah, so all that talk about freedom and freedom to do whatever you want to do and all that sort of stuff and think how you want to think, it's all bullshit. Well, what examples have you got? An example, Johnny? Well, it seems we've got an example cropping up now around the world that governments are telling people who to support in a war. Who to barrack for in a war? Yeah, who to support. I mean, I know there's terrible things happening over in bloody in Israel at the moment, but Johnny, but the fact is that governments don't have the right to tell their people who to bloody support in any given war that's got nothing to do with the people in the bloody country.
Absolute determination, a steadfast determination to make sure that we stay together.
More than 24 Harvard University student organizations declared in a statement on Saturday that the Israeli regime was, quote, entirely responsible for the violence in its fight against Gaza. This is according to Fox News. A joint statement from Harvard Palestine Solidarity Groups reads, "We, the undersigned student organizations, hold the Israeli regime entirely responsible for all unfolding violence. Today's events did not occur in a vacuum. For the last 2 decades, millions of Palestinians in Gaza have been forced to live in an open-air prison." Now, student groups at Columbia and Swarthmore universities are also facing backlash for similar statements that they made condemning Israel.
That we stay together, that we stare down the barbarity, that we rise up and we support those in their darkest hour.
Flares were thrown, anti-Semitic slurs chanted, and an Israeli flag set on fire during that illegal pro-Palestinian rally last night at the Opera House.
Who to barrack for in a war?
1,000 police officers will converge on Sydney CBD this Sunday as organisers push ahead with plans for another pro-Palestinian rally.
But Johnny, you've got to have a population that's under control, don't you? Why? Well, you have to have your population under control.
It just sent me. Mr. Dutton's comments are a shocking attack on democratic rights in this country. People have a right to protest against the war crimes and apartheid policies of the Israeli state, which have been widely condemned by humanitarian organisations and the United Nations. They've gone on to say that they'll be holding a joint press conference tomorrow in Sydney with civil liberties lawyers and members of the Jewish community who support the right to protest for a free Palestine to respond to these outrageous attacks on our democratic rights. Now,
so, Johnny, if you've got a different point of view to the government, does that mean you can't bloody protest about it? I mean, if you're in the country that's getting attacked, well, I suppose you'd have to support your own country. But if you're the country they're talking about is around the other side of the world, and right, yeah, the dispute has been going on for bloody over a century, I think people should be able to make their own mind up as to who they bloody support in this particular confrontation. Oh, Johnny, no one's interested in going back to all those years to find out what the truth is. Come on.
There was editorial board, Haaretz, which was published, I believe, on the 8th, so over the weekend. That statement said, "The disaster that befell Israel on the holiday of Simchat Torah is the clear responsibility of one person, Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister who has prided himself on his vast political experience and irreplaceable wisdom in security matters, completely failed to identify the dangers he was consciously leading Israel into when establishing a government of annexation and dispossession, when appointing Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir to key positions, while embracing a foreign policy that openly ignored the existence and rights of Palestinians."
The point is, Johnny, governments don't have the right to tell their people, even if they're...
In the context of brutal violence in the Middle East, both from Hamas and the Israeli army, Western journalists and politicians are trying to airbrush out the occupation as its ultimate cause.
Now, I see a time, Johnny, coming bloody pretty soon, where people who don't come out and just blanketly support Israel, they're going to be taken down from bloody social platforms. Yeah, I mean Twitter and all that sort of stuff. And not forgetting our good old friend, YouTube. Yeah, YouTube channels taken off air. Johnny, that'd be unprecedented. That'd be censorship.
As far as the students, obviously they have the right They absolutely should have the free speech right to engage in political advocacy or to say things I think are bad or wrong or offensive, and they should not suffer consequences for that, I'm sure.
People should be able to support who they want to support, just not something that the government blanketly supports because some politician 50 years ago said that we'll support this particular country forever. So are you saying that we should be thinking about who we should support and fuck what the government says? Well, that's going to I don't know whether that's going to roll.